Hey,
What's going on?
what's up, man? Basement Autoflowers, Grower Joe. How are you today?
Man, that intro was getting me fired up, man. Like you've got
Really?
some
You like that?
some phenomenal genetics there, it looks like
Yeah,
covered in dust, man. And the music was kind of getting me, man. I like that. That was a good edit. I like
yeah.
that.
Thanks, thanks. Yeah, I just kind of threw that
Awesome.
together. I had to get something going. You know what I mean? Little stream is starting. A waiting period to kind of get some people in here. And yeah, I'm glad you like that one. How's your day
Yeah,
going so
man.
far?
Day's going good, man. We've been grinding out today, making some video content. We've got some recording that we've been doing. We're working on a Christmas album here, man, which is hilarious. I can't wait to share it with you if we get it done in time. So we're gonna do like Christmas songs that are cannabis related, and Santa will be singing them. We get some elves, all kinds of cool stuff over. You know how we do it over here.
Man, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, you're super creative when it comes to just video production in general, whether it be on your YouTube or whether it be on your Instagram. I mean, you just got a ton of good content here. Let me see if I can share my screen here and just kind of show what you got going on. So you can see here, here's his channel, right? So if you guys don't know, so he's got a whole bunch of videos here. I noticed that you started putting smaller clips on there. You got 7-second clips, 15-second clips, along with your grow videos. So these ones that are like 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Are more topic focused videos or showing you grow, whatever. And then you got more like skit style ones, which I believe is on your Instagram too.
Yeah. Yeah, so the skit thing is kind of like YouTube is obviously giving us a hard time with some cannabis content. I mean, we can't get it monetized, so I'm trying to do some skits to see if you can get really anything monetized. But it looks like you really can't. You can't even really show bud. You can't show leaves. You can't show anything. But one of the major reasons why you're seeing those in the near future is I've got a new setup over here. So you see the new light, the new mic. We've got a soundboard. We've been kind of working on a lot of that stuff over the short period of time. So we're launching a new podcast, kind of like what you're doing lives, kind of sharing with the community. And I'm excited about that. So YouTube's definitely where I'm going to put some time, but you're going to see a lot on Twitch and a lot on YouTube as well for lives. So
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So I don't want to assume that everybody in the chat knows who you are. So we talked a little bit about your YouTube channel. Can you just tell us who is Grower Joe? Tell us about yourself.
yeah, man. So obviously, if you're watching this video, I kind of look like the guy from Home Alone here, guys. But I'm not related. I'm a home grower that started out just kind of just doing some Instagram stuff, showing my grows, and then I came across some dudes out there that were doing a bit more. One of the guys, you might know him. His name is Chris or Mister Grow It. We seen what these guys were doing, and I'm like, you know what? I need to step up my game. I need to start doing a bit more. So we grow autoflowers and we try to video a lot of it, put together some fun skits, some comedy. We're doing a bit of everything. I want to be that grower with a little bit of Cheech and Chong vibe to it, and in the new age. So it's coming together, man. I'm having a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. I'm super pumped to have you on. You're somebody who, I mean, you got excellent quality. I mean, I even asked you to do my book promo potentially, so we might be able to have that. Put you on the spot there. So if it doesn't happen, he
No,
said
it's
no.
it's it's probably going to happen. You know what I think we should do to try to like move that forward a bit is maybe just send me a book. That way there, because what
Yeah.
happens with me sometimes, man, I'll be honest with you, and you're probably the same way. Like you're trying to grind and you want to put content out, but there's sometimes where you just don't really feel like it. You're out of the mood, man. But then there's sometimes where you're smoking and you're like, oh fuck, I got an idea right now. I need to do this. And you're probably gonna get more out of me if you send the book over. And if I have it here, one of these days I'm gonna get high and I'm gonna be flipping through it. And I'll be like, you know what? I need to make this video right now.
I'll definitely send that out to you soon. We'll talk after the stream for sure. So no smoke is what I was saying in the chat. Yeah, we are.
We're
I'm
smoking. We're
smoking. Are you
smoking.
smoking or what? Cheers, everyone. What do you got for a strain there? What do you or
So
cultivar? What are you smoking on?
this is my Bruce Banner that I harvested a few months back from Fast Bud Genetics. It's good. Not a crazy amount of flavor to it. Last time I grew it, it had a bit more flavor, but I did dry it a bit quicker this time. We're in Canada here, man, so the humidity dropped drastically over the last few months. So it dried out a little quicker than I really wanted it to, but it's a good hitter, man. Great strain if you're looking at growing an autoflower. very consistent every single time, and a big yielder for an
That's
auto.
nice, nice. Yeah, I got some Curb Stomper. So smoking on this is from Prism Labs. I
Nice.
actually just posted a video on my main YouTube channel last week, and it goes over kind of the what the plants look like in flowering, and then the harvest results on it. And that was one of them, which I was really pleased with. Definitely got a good yield off of that, and
How long have you been growing, man, yourself?
coming up on 12 years. It'll be 12 years, 2010. So coming up on 12 years with the start of the year. So
No way, man. That's wild,
yeah.
eh? And you've kind of been here for a lot of it. So like in the last little bit, like there's this big jump in creators. Like a lot of us are getting into it. You guys are a head start. You guys got a nice little crew. Like, did you see this happening, or did you like take a risk and say, you know what, this is something I think we can do? Like, how did it kind of all work for you?
Yeah, I mean, 2000, 13, I believe, is when I first started, when I first saw a grow video on YouTube, and I was like, "This is allowed? What the hell?" Like, I thought like people would get banned and like their channel would be moved immediately, but there was like these channels were sticking around, right? There was just more and more channels on YouTube that were sticking around, and I was doing prank videos on the Las Vegas Strip for in 2014, 2015 ish. So I already was into video production to begin with, you know what I mean? So that was something that I had already done even way back when I was in high school. I was like filming friends doing stupid things. But seeing that it was allowed on there and seeing it become more and more legal, I was like, this is going to turn into something. If like YouTube continues to allow people to show their grows on here, like, yeah, you bet your ass as it gets more and more legal, more and more people are going to tune in. The community is going to get bigger and bigger. So I figured I'd just, start showing my grows, really just to kind of get advice from people. I was doing the same thing over and over again for the first 6 years of growing. Fox Farm nutrients, Fox Farm soil, HID lighting. Then I seen all these different ways to do it, and then I kind of got out of my comfort zone and was asking people for advice. And then that's when I realized that there was a lot of people kind of who didn't know what the hell they were doing and they were so confused. And so I was ended up starting to answer questions, and it turned into me building a website, writing a book, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it just kind of blew up out of nowhere, but I did kind of see it back then. I'm like, this could potentially turn into a big community. And here we are today. I mean, I always imagine how many people are probably watching grow videos on YouTube right now. It's got to be like 15,000
Oh,
plus
it's
people.
crazy.
It's got to
It's
be
crazy.
tens of thousands of people in this community. Easy. So, yeah.
And you know
What
what?
made you want
Like
to get into it?
to be honest with you, man, I didn't see enough of us out there. Like there wasn't enough of us, and there wasn't like the style that I learned. The way that I learn, I wanted to kind of give that to someone and just kind of be simple and fun about it, right? And there's a lot of guys out there that don't do that. Like you guys are pretty open. You guys answer questions. Your inbox are open. You do whatever you need to do to help the community. But believe it or not, there's a lot of pricks out there too, man. There's a lot of asshole growers that it's their way or the highway. That's hard to teach people, man. And people get disappointed, they get down on themselves, and they don't want to grow. So I just wanted to make like a fun community where people could inbox me, talk to me, ask me any questions they want, man. And that's kind of what we've been doing, man. Like I've got friendships over there. Like there's people that I've met through online that I never thought was possible, man. Like I thought that was unheard of, right? But like I've got friends, and like you just experienced this, man. Like you went down to Vegas, met these guys that you've only been communicating with online. Like, how was that, man? How cool was that?
That was awesome. It was so cool to meet those guys and hang out with them. Talk to us
Absolutely.
about the first time you consumed. Like, how did you get started with consumption?
Man, it was my brother was older than me, so I got an older brother that was in high school, man, and I went into grade 9, and I remember like my brother was like dabbling in it a bit and smoking here or there, like little tiny pipe loads, right? Like we would do back in the day. And I was at a house party, and I remember them like trying to force me to try it. Like, you got to try this, you got to try this, you got to try this. And then eventually, like, I took a puff of it, coughed my damn lungs out, like we all do, right? And then they did the whole paranoid thing. Like, they put me in the bubble. They were all talking to me, like, and I'm like, holy fuck, man, what's going on here? Like, I'm freaking out. I remember going into the guy's closet, sitting in the closet by myself, like checking my breathing. I was like, checking it. I'm like, oh, how do I breathe here? How do I breathe? So I had a terrible first experience, man. Like I smoked it for probably like 2 or 3 months, and then I didn't smoke it again until like grade 12. I was away from it altogether. I tried it again in grade 12 and had a phenomenal experience. Laughed our asses off. We went bowling. I remember like getting McDonald's, like everything, all the fun stuff about stoning back in the day. And then ever since, I kind of just been smoking it regularly, man. I smoke it every day when I get home from work. If I'm not working, I'll smoke it in the morning and continue my day. And I just find that it kind of makes me energized. It makes me more fun. It makes me more normal.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it helps out so much. I mean, with stress, like it helps me out a ton with stress. Definitely. Sometimes, talking about anxiety, sometimes it does help take the edge off anxiety wise. But some cultivars, makes me more anxious, to be honest with you. But that's just how it is. Cultivar specific is my belief. I first got into it when I was 12. Believe it or not. My sister, I have an older brother and I have an older sister. My older brother is 6 years older. He is completely straight edge, doesn't smoke at all, against it, would vote no to legalization, all that stuff. My sister, though, she's the one who introduced me to it. So I was, she was 3 years older than me. So 12, 13. So she was 15 at the time, smoking with her friend in the backyard. And then she pulled me into it. So I was 12, smoking a joint of brickweed. So I started out with the finest brickweed,
Oh
which
yeah, man.
hot garbage. That was sarcasm. It's hot garbage for sure. But I didn't get high. I was one of the ones that didn't get high. It took me like 3 or 4 times in order to actually get stoned. Did you get high on
Really?
your first time? Yeah. Did you get high on your first
100%,
time?
man. I got really high, man. Like I was freaking out. Like I
Wow.
thought I wasn't coming back type deal. Like because my mom was like totally against it, right? Like my parents grew up in the south end of the city, which is like the bad part of the city where I live. So lots of drug dealing, lots of that stuff where they grew up. So like we were like, you ever touch that, you're in fucking big trouble type things, right? So I got like super high. I was paranoid this was like a terrible drug. Like I'm going and I'm not coming back type deal.
That's wild. Yeah, looks like Pio in the chat didn't get high either for the first time. That's
Yeah, a
nuts.
lot of people don't, man. A lot of people don't. I wonder, is there a science behind that? Is there something that causes that?
Man, I have no idea. My ex-girlfriend, of like 5 years ago, she could not get high at all. She never got high, right? And we were literally taking bong rips. Like I was making her cough her ass off, and she felt nothing. Rips from the vape, right? You're looking at, what, 80, 90% THC or whatever it is,
Yeah,
ripping the
like
vape, nothing. Finally, finally, the way we did it was brownies. So
yeah,
brownies
edibles,
got,
edibles every time, man. They always
yeah.
get you.
So Leafly, Leafly.com, they used to have well, they still do have a brownie recipe, right? And back in the day, it was so wrong. They had you put like an ounce full per, cup of oil or whatever it was. The ratio was ridiculously wrong. It was ridiculously strong, and I used their ratio for it. And literally, I came to the point I've never been so fucked up off of anything, and edibles, ever. Like I was borderline hallucination, and she was freaking out, crying. Like it took it. Like we were both fucked up, almost to the point where you hear about those stories about like the cops that take brownies and they freak out and they
Oh
start
yeah.
calling on themselves. You hear like the phone call recordings that they have it. I was almost at that point though, where I was freaking out. Um,
I think
but
we've all
man,
been to that
edibles did it.
stage, man. Like I think like the whole freaking out part, I think a lot of us like that to a certain extent too. Like we kind of chase that a little bit every now and then. Like in the right circumstances. Like if I'm home alone, I don't mind trying to be there, you know what I mean? Like have some fun and kind of lose yourself for a minute. But I understand why people don't want to try it because they probably eat it. They have a terrible experience, man. Like you said, like you're almost to the hallucinating point. Like you're on edge, you don't know what's going on. I remember one time I ate brownies with my neighbor, and we're eating brownies down here, and it didn't kick in, and then I eat another one, and then like 45 minutes later, we're watching the fights, and in my own house, he's invited over. It's just me and him. I'm like, "Bud up, I'm out of here, man." He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm going to bed, man. Like I can't be down here right now. Like I need to get away from you." And just freaking out, man. Every time I eat it, I get to that point where I don't want to be high anymore. Like I can't eat it. I'm a smoker. I could smoke as many joints as you possibly could put at me, but I literally cannot eat it, man.
Yeah, I shy away from edibles. It has to be a real special occasion. Have to be planned out in the sense, right? I have to know, like, for the next 8 hours, I'm not going to be doing jack shit, you know. And I don't take them too late in the day because if I take them too late, some edibles, I feel like keep me awake. So if I take them 8 9 p.m., well, shit, I'll be up till 3 4, easily just wired like stoned.
Yeah, you're out
Um,
of luck then.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Do you have a question in the chat? Let me find this question. Where the heck are we? I had it for a second, but I lost it. There we go. AZ asks, any tips or tricks for maximizing yield on autoflowers? What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
mean, biggest thing. I mean, you're all going to know the answers to this. Biggest thing is get good genetics. Number one. So make sure you're going with some of the top brands like Mephisto Genetics, Night Owl, Ethos, Fast Bud Genetics. Some of those players. Don't be buying from the 420 ABC Seed Company on Instagram. Those guys are they haven't been doing it long. Not to say they won't be great, but you're going to want to stay away from those guys. Number two is make sure you got your temperatures dialed in, man. Make sure you got your humidity dialed in, your heat's dialed in. If you need AC, you got that dialed in. Just cover the basics, man, and work out a watering strategy and make sure you write it down every single grow so you can dial it in. Make sure you know kind of how much you're giving and what stage and what life cycle because autos all come down to watering, man, and genetics, I would say.
I feel like training, like low stress training, is something that I personally do that just helps out so much. I feel like, I mean, I think it's undervalued for the most part, right? If you let your plant grow up just into normal Christmas tree style with that main cola and then those, those lower branches. I have grown plants side by side now. I'm sure they're coming from seed. Autoflowers come from seed, so you can have different phenos. But all the ones that I grew upright normally um, yielded less than the ones I did low stress training on. So, do you have any tips for training?
Yeah, man. Low stress training obviously is something that I do a lot of. We have our own low stress training grow bags, which are sold out right now, unfortunately. But we low stress train every single autoflower. So I try to low stress train them as soon as they're tall enough in my bag. So you'll see on my page. You want to check it out, guys. About 2 inches, 3 inches tall. We'll start tiling them down and circling them around the pot with all the grommets. What happens then, obviously, is your bottom branches, your bottom nodes start to come up to the top, and then I just continue to keep tying those down to the outside. You're going to get better light penetration, which is at the end of the day going to give you bigger and more yield at the end of the day, right? Which I just said the end of the day twice, and then there's more the end of the day. So the end of the day.
Now, should you transplant autos? That's just Cam's world
Some
asking that.
people are doing it. Some people are doing it and having a lot of work. But me, to be honest with you, like I'm a lazy grower, man. Like I've just got this new automatic watering system so I can save time in my garden. So transplanting to me is just an extra step, which could possibly slow down my growth and stress out my plants. So realistically, I don't see a need in transplanting because you're only growing in a 3 gallon, 5 gallon, maybe a seven. So realistically, if you just take your time and watch your watering, I don't see there to be a need to transplant. And personally, I've done it a few times and haven't had a whole lot of luck.
Same way. I've done it, a few times. I feel like I need to do it more in order to say yes or no. Now, every time I do it, I would transplant and do the mycorrhizal fungi, right? So, use that opportunity to where the roots are exposed, sprinkle some mycorrhizal fungi on there, which is an extension of the roots, right? It's going to help with nutrient uptake. Some people swear by that. They're like, that's the only reason why I transplant, so I can sprinkle mycorrhizal on there, and they do it particularly for autos because they feel like that actually boosts growth. So I would challenge some people to try it out. I feel like I need to do it more in order to really say yes or no. It's my way of doing
Yeah,
it. Shay asks, "Am I going to do another autoflower series soon?" I don't have really any in the plans. I do have some seeds that I could potentially plant, but as of right now, I don't have the plans to do an auto. Maybe I'll sneak one into my veg tent and see if I can veg long enough and then keep that in. I don't know. I might squeeze an auto in there. So definitely stay tuned for that one. Were you going to say something?
I forget what it was. To be honest, I'm high right now, so
How
I
early
said
do you start training?
Well, like I said, very early. You're like
Hmm.
day 15, day
Okay.
20. As long as
Yeah.
everything goes well and they're at the stage where I like them to be. Now, sometimes that's day 30, day 35. That's the hard thing, right? When people ask a question, like they want a definite answer, and you probably run into this all the time too. Like I get customers, or not customers, well, they are sometimes, but followers that will message me and say, like, how much water do I give on week 3? How much well, like, where's this got to be on week 4? And well, there's obviously like a set amount, but it, or whatever you think you should give based on what works for me. But I could tell you, give them a liter every 3 days, and it's not going to work, man. Like it's not baking. Like you can't add flours and eggs and everything else and get chocolate chip cookies. Like it's not the same deal, right? So many variables that come in. So it all depends on where they are and what stage they are, but typically around 15 to 20 days old.
Yeah. Same for me. Jack says, "Oh my God, Chris isn't an affiliate yet." Yeah, I got an hour and a half left, I think. So I got to do. I'm doing an hour-long stream today, and then got to do another half hour. It'll come. I'm just being patient. I'm
What
just
does that mean? What's affiliate?
so that's on Twitch, where basically you have to stream for within a 30-day period. You have to stream on, I think, 7 different days, 8 hours total or more. And you have to have a certain number of viewers and a certain number of followers. Then you can get Twitch affiliate, which is basically you're allowed to, people can donate bits, they can subscribe to the channel,
Oh, nice.
which costs money, and then I would get a split of revenue for that. Ads, I would get a split of revenue from that. So it's really a way to monetize on Twitch. It's kind of their way of
Oh, no way,
monetizing.
man. So Twitch is better. It's better off really to stream over here than to stream on YouTube, realistically.
That's what some people say. I mean, I'm trying it out. YouTube, they suppress cannabis content. I mean, you talked about that a little bit. Like it's so hard to monetize when you say the word cannabis or weed or marijuana or show plants. So yeah, fucking, I'm not gonna live. It's much more relaxed. You know what I mean? You can swear without getting age restricted. They're such sticklers over on YouTube that yeah, I feel like Twitch is an outlet for cannabis content creators to come over here and talk freely
100%,
about
man.
cannabis and smoke and show plants and all that stuff. It's just not many people really come on here for that, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? You guys are over here doing it now, so eventually a lot of people are going to transfer over here, right? Like you guys are setting a nice concrete foundation for the rest of us creators. So like realistically, no bullshit. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you, Pigeons and Rob. You guys are doing some shit, man. And that's pretty awesome because you know what? Our followers and everybody that's in the community and they're growing with us, they do want to pay us back, right? And they don't necessarily have a way. Maybe they don't need the book or maybe they don't need whatever we have to offer. But if they're in a Twitch stream and they can throw you $5 or $3 or $1 or $10 or whatever the hell they want to send, that's their way to pay you back, man, right? Which is we realistically like that's why we follow people. Like I'm in streams all the time giving people money because they make my life better, man. They help me with things that I would have to pay for if they didn't do it.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely. I mean, I mostly do Patreon. I follow people on Patreon, support them through that way because that's an avenue that I believe in. Particularly for cannabis content creators, it's kind of like a tip jar. In the most part, I don't really believe in. It's kind of a conversation hiding behind a paywall. You know what I mean? Keeping information behind a paywall. I don't entirely agree
I
with
hear you
that.
there. I hear you.
I mean, if it's in some cases, okay, so I don't want to say a blanket statement on that one, but in some cases, there's additional entertainment or behind the scenes, or that can all be behind a paywall. But if you're like withholding information, if you're like, oh, my secret soil recipe is only for my patrons, you know what I mean? Then
Yeah,
you're
I
kind
call
of
it the bait. Yeah, the bait and switch, right? They're like, "Oh, do you want to learn how to do this? You gotta pay this," and I don't
yeah,
like that. I don't like
uh,
that part of it. Now, do you want to add extra? Do you want to learn how to do this? You want to get advice from me? Do you want to have connect to me? Do you want to be part of
yeah,
the community?
right,
Sure, I'll pay for that, right? But I just don't like being sold, I guess. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
don't like when someone sells me.
yep,
Yeah. I'm
I
with you
agree,
on that, man.
totally agree. We have some more questions here in the chat.
We
Good
got
questions
one
here.
sec here. We got
What?
Jack in the chat. You got to bring Jack's comment up here real quick. Want to see my dick? You got to pay, he says. Oh shit!
I think that's OnlyFans for that one, right?
Oh, oh
It's
shit!
hilarious. Jack is so funny. Question in
Any?
the chat
Oh yes,
by Little Do. Thanks for swinging through here today. I need tips on dealing with 60 to 65% humidity at night during flowering.
100% dehumidifier, man, all day long. Get a dehumidifier that can run to drain. Hopefully, you can run it somewheres in your house to drain. If not, one of the things that I did before I could run to drain is just get a couple 5 gallon buckets, and you can actually run it to drain, and it gives you enough time to kind of go to sleep and wake up and empty it so that it doesn't shut off and it can maintain those temperatures. But most of them now, you can get them on Amazon. They're like $100, $200 for like a really good one, and you can set the humidity rate on it, and it will dehumidify until it comes to that level, man. Or
Yeah,
mist, whatever you are. I apologize.
I live in a very dry climate, so I don't have a dehumidifier, but I do experience that high of humidity, particularly during lights off, right? Because, lights go off, plants transpire. It just raises up the humidity in the grow space, oftentimes, right? Especially if you just watered your plants that, when the lights were on.
Yeah,
What I usually do is, I have my AC Infinity fan. A lot of people have those now, and I have the high humidity set for a certain set point, whatever I want it to be, whether it be, the vegetation stage, maybe it's at like 70 or something like that is when it's going to start exhausting. If it goes higher than that, it starts exhausting. Or
yeah,
on flowering, whatever I have it set to, 60%, 62%, or whatever. So the AC Infinity humidity, sorry, AC I'm stoned a little bit. So
AC Infinity
AC
fan.
Infinity fan
There we go.
is key for that, especially since the air coming into the grow space is of a lower humidity, right? So that's the only way it's going to work. If your natural humidity is 60-65% in your grow room, well, no matter how much you exhaust,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to lower it, and that's when a dehumidifier comes in, like you mentioned. So
And realistically, little do 65% at nighttime for however many hours you're in darkness, whatever you're running. If it's 12 and 12 for photos, as long as you got good airflow, man, you're probably going to be okay. I mean, it's not ideal or perfect conditions, but you're probably going to be okay.
yeah,
Oh, look
yeah.
right here. Scotty says the same thing. It's
Same
true
thing.
though.
Yep. I thought you were relaying what he said. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. But would be high on the as far as the VP. If you look at a VPD chart and you see what your temperature drops down to, say it drops to like the low 70s, well, then being up that high, particularly in flowering, there's risk for things such as bud rot and mold if you don't have the air circulation. But 9 times out of 10, as long as you have the air circulation in there, exchange of air in there, then they should be fine for sure. So what else is going on, man? What's going on in your current grow?
Current grow, man. We just started a new grow here, so we just popped them 2 days ago. No, a day and a half ago. We've got a bunch of different strains in there and a bunch of different companies. So we're running some Fast Bud Genetics. We're running some Wildwood Seeds, which the first time running them, and they're kind of like, for lack of a better word, and hopefully they don't get pissed at me for saying this because it's not sponsored or anything like that. I'm kind of just doing them a favor. They're kind of like a Mephisto knockoff. So he took Mephisto and he kind of made his own, and he's testing them, and they're actually turning out pretty well. So I'm going to give those a run. And then we've got some cookies and cream from Seed Stalkers, which I'm excited about. I've grown that a few times. It turns out really well. And then the last one we're growing is Quarter Pounder from Canuck Seeds, which we grew. That was the very first strain we grew way back when we had purple lights and a 2x2 tent. So I'm excited to kind of see what I can pull off with that. But we're trying to do a bunch of different strains because I need seed to harvest videos. It seems like Mr. Canucks got this on lockdown, and the seed to harvest is the way to go in a
Oh yeah,
cinematic fashion and tell a story. And I'm good at telling a story, but I've never done a full seed to harvest because it's a lot of work to record all that, man. Like it's time every single night. You need to set up time lapses. Like it's a lot of work. But we're set up now with the proper equipment. We've got a new lens for my camera, and I can't wait to do some really sexy seed to harvest videos, and hopefully represent these strains well, and hopefully people can buy them and get the same results, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, the seed to harvest videos are definitely one of the top views on my channel, at least. But yeah, Mr. Canuck has been doing a ton. Uh, I can only imagine how often he spends, how much time he spends filming. Never mind editing. I know editing, he's doing 30, 40 hours per video just on the editing. So that's a long time. You're not even counting the filming. You're not even
Yeah.
counting the time it takes to write out the script. You're not even counting the time it takes to record the audio for the voiceover and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So hats off to him. I know there are some other content creators that have some really new to the scene that are really getting up there with his level of production. But they have nowhere near as many views. And I can only imagine, like I used to do some of my editing is highly edited with transitions, lower thirds, call outs, all that stuff, overlays. Um, it takes so long to do. And I'm at the point where it's just like, it's just not worth it for me anymore. I used to have fun doing it and I used to have the time to do it, but now I just have so much going on that my video is just becoming simpler and simpler. So
I
I'm going to probably
wonder
have
if
a
it
whole
makes a
bunch of people.
difference, man. I wonder if it makes a difference. Like you said this a few days ago. I was watching one of your lives, and you said this. Like, does it make a difference? Like, do the viewers notice the difference? Do they notice the quality? Do they notice the transitions? Like when I make a video for a company, like I just did a commercial for a weed company locally. If you listen to that in headphones, you can hear the birds taking off. You can hear the wind. You can hear sirens. You can hear walks. I put all those sound effects in because it really adds to the video,
Oh,
right?
for sure.
But you try to do those in your regular YouTube videos as well, but it takes so much damn time. And I'm wondering if they even fucking notice. Like, it doesn't make a difference. Are you getting more views? Are people more engaged? I really don't think it matters, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's tough, but then you look at Mr. Canucks, he's almost at what is he at? Almost at 800,000 subscribers.
Yeah, wild.
He's probably getting 50,000 plus subscribers a month, roughly. I don't know. I haven't looked at his numbers recently, but I mean his stuff's highly edited, so maybe it does help. Who knows? But I think you have to get to a certain spot, right? You can't just start with those highly edited videos because you know you're going to start with 100 subscribers. It's going to be it's a slow build all the way up to 1,000, then it starts to pick up faster. Then once you hit 10,000 subscribers, then it just goes crazier and crazier. The more subs you get, the faster you kind of grow, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're consistent and all that stuff. I haven't been very consistent this past year on my main channel, but I hope to turn that around as I simplify my videos and spend less time editing and more time just putting out content. So, but yeah, maybe it does help. It probably does help. Maybe it depends on your size, but
I think it's just consistency that's the main thing, man. I think that's why I'm kind of
true.
stuck in this bottleneck, man. I get really consistent for a few months and then I got to turn it down because something comes up. And I just need to put out content. But at the end of the day, man, we got a pretty fucking cool community. So I feel like entitled that I have to grind, man. I've got to do this, but I've got a risk in line too, man. Like you're doing this full time. So you do have a risk to obviously produce for yourself and make sure that you can do this. But one of my risks, man, is like I'm employed, man. My employer might see this stuff and not like it, and I could lose my job tomorrow, right? Like I'm almost convinced that that's why I lost my other job. I don't know why. They never ever gave me a reason. They just let me go. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they found my content, right? So it's scary, man. And you could lose it all tomorrow. Your page could disappear tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I hid my face for so long. Because I was employed. A lot of people are like, oh, why don't you show your face? What are you doing things illegally? No, it's it's not that I'm doing things illegally. I'm a medical patient. I'm allowed to grow. Everything's legal for me. I'm staying within my plant count. It's just that if my boss ever found it out, or I was in management, if any one of my 100 to 200 associates underneath me found out, saw me on YouTube, which they actually did with my prank videos towards the end of my time being a manager, which is kind of awkward. Kind of awkward, you know what I mean? When you're a manager, you need to just be a little bit different there. Having this stuff exposed on the internet, you're at risk for losing your job. You really are.
100%.
So,
It's scary, man. Like, I've got a great job, man. The only reason I do this though is because I honestly feel like someone needs to do this. Like, we need to do this. Someone needs to be the face because there's
yeah.
lots of people out there that they need this plant. Like, they need it. Like, I don't think I need it. Like, I like it, but I don't smoke like crazy amounts. Like, there's days I don't smoke and I'll take the day off, right? Because I don't feel like smoking. But
Hmm.
like, there's people out there that need this every single day.
Oh, I
Yep.
think the audio got
It's
killed
Friday,
for
man.
the raid.
Check, check. Can you hear me
There we
now?
go. We're good. We're good. We're good.
You're
So
physically going to call them? Is that what you said? Like you're going to make a phone call?
good. If people want a phone call, I can get a phone call, but I will
That's the
definitely.
coolest. That's the coolest thing about this new deck, man. I can actually take live phone calls on the air.
Really?
Yeah, like you can take, like, if people in the chat want to call in, they can call in and ask you a question live on the air.
That's awesome. So, what deck are you talking about?
So I got the Rode Podcaster.
Huh? I don't even know what that is. Is it like a
Yeah,
stream
so
deck?
it's a podcast deck. So basically, you can bring in 4 microphones to it. So if you want to do a live podcast with 4 people, you can do up to 4 microphones. Then you can bring in a USB device. So that could be a phone, a computer, whatever you'd like. Then you can bring in an actual cell phone. So you can actually call through your cell phone, and you can Bluetooth the device as well, which could be another cell phone. So like we went live last night on YouTube, and I've got a number through an app, and you put the number up and they call in. We had like 17 calls live on the air where people could ask questions or just talk about their grow or tell their story about how they become involved with cannabis. It's pretty fucking cool, man. Pretty
That's
cool.
awesome, man. Yeah, because you launched a podcast. Is that out yet? And like talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the podcast is going to start in December. We've got some guests lined up. So basically, what it's going to be is called The Basement After Hours with Grower Joe. So it's not just about growing; it's just about cannabis in general. It's going to be a live podcast similar to this, where I bring on people that are cannabis related that want to talk about their story, tell what they do, and we're going to share all kinds of cool people on it. So it's going to be about an hour long. It's going to be either Saturday or Sunday. We haven't decided yet. I just want to figure out what day would work best. It's going to be a weekly show, and we're going to have the growers on, but we're also going to take live phone calls, like we said, and we're going to prank phone call people. So there's a couple people we're going to prank phone call as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's just going to be like a cool talk show with awesome people, man.
That's awesome. I definitely got to tune into that one. Yeah, like I mentioned in the top of the show, I mean, I love your quality, love what you're doing there. Let me show your channel on stream real quick. We've got here's one of his videos right here. He talks about overwatering autoflowers. You have a ton of content that has to do with autoflowers, right? I mean, it's in your name, Basement Autoflowers, and I mean, so many different tips. I mean, one of the things that I learned is you talk about cleaning. A lot of people don't make videos about cleaning, but it's an important piece of it, right? Can you talk about
So,
cleaning your grow environment?
yeah, man. So cleaning obviously is, I think that's probably the most important thing. And being a grower, I mean, we're dirty and there's dirt in there and we're making a mess. And biggest thing is being clean and cleanliness. So my wife's a cleaner by trade, so she's got a business where she cleans. So she does a peroxide water mix, and she goes in and cleans and sprays down all the walls. But besides that, what we do is we take all of our equipment. So our lights, our dehumidifiers, our humidifiers, our fans, we take them all apart. So we clean them every single run. We clean them up. Make sure you do it with a nice mild soap and warm water to get you ready for the next grow. Because realistically, there could be some powdery mildew, hanging around. I'm high as a kite right now. I had about 4 fucking bong loads over here. We're talking about cleaning. I can't see myself. I'm watching a video of myself. It's really awkward because I'm watching it go and I'm trying to talk about it, but I know, like, I almost remember what I said in the video. Like, oh my God, you put me in a
I'll turn
loop.
off the distraction.
Put me in a crazy loop. But the main thing is just make sure that you're cleaning your grow room, man. Like, there could be anything left behind, right? There could be bugs there that haven't quite made it yet. There could be mold, mildew, anything along those lines. Make sure you're cleaning it every run. But there's a lot of people that do fucking perpetual runs, right? They just roll them. But I think you need to take a break every now and then, even if you're doing that, to get everything cleaned up, make sure everything's running properly, and get ready for your next run. Yeah, these guys, look. He's fucking, please do talk about cleaning. We got another guy saying he's tripping.
I showed that on a second. That's funny. Yeah, cleaning is so important. One thing I learned from you is the hydrogen peroxide / water like dilution that you use to spray the walls, which is something I'm going to try out next time I need to. I've just been wiping it down with a sponge, right? So I'd use a bleach cleaning product and wipe down the walls, wipe down the floors, just everywhere, the equipment, just to try to get any potential pathogens, pests, bad bacteria, anything that's, get rid of it on the surfaces of everything, you use, even
100%.
washing out the grow pots and stuff like that is a big thing. I know some people who don't wash out their grow pots. I feel like, I don't know. I've
Why
gotten
not?
better.
It's one of those why nots, right? It's like, do you wear the same pair of jeans all week long? You probably do, because we're men and that's what we do, right? But eventually you got to wash those out, right? They get a grass stain on them, they get some dirt on them, you got to get rid of it. It's simple,
Yeah.
right? Why not though? There's a lot of people that don't, man.
Right,
You need to, I think.
But I do it before my grow. I do it before I flip the flower. Is typically when I'll try, if I don't have anything major hooked up like auto watering system or a scrog, I'll take the plants out. You know what I mean? Take it out of the grow tent, and then actually do a thorough cleaning, and then put them back in and hope for the best come flower stage. You know what I mean? Flower stage is when you're most vulnerable, right? If you get pests, some could freaking wipe out your crop. So it's like I don't like to take that risk at all.
Especially with photos, right? Because I mean, when you're vegging, I mean, you decide when you flip, right? So if you get a problem, you run into pests, you run into anything, you can hopefully save it, right? If it's not too bad. But realistically, once you're in flower, man, you're going. You're already in the race, right? You're either going to run or you're going to fall, right? So
Right. Yep. But yeah, cleaning super important. Even cleaning out, the buckets that you use for your nutrient solution, and honestly, just wiping down with tap water with chlorine or chloramine in it. You got to
yep.
think that the chlorine is made there to kill out the bad bacteria, right? A lot of people don't know that. I clean out my humidifiers, and since I use RO water, and the humidifier is underneath the light, sometimes you get algae growth, right? Very common thing. What kills algae? Chlorine, right? Just
Marine.
literally using your tap water with chlorine or chloramine and wiping it down with a sponge or paper towel or whatever can help get rid of it. Now, obviously, it's better if you use some sort of soap. I use Dr. Bronner's soap to clean out my humidifiers. It's all natural. But yeah, I mean, just regular
It's
water.
funny you said the
Soap and water.
humidifier thing, because a lot of people, even if they do have chlorine in their water, they'll just naturally put it underneath the sink or put it under the hose and fill up their humidifier. But realistically, that water's been sitting in that pipe. So the first little bit of water doesn't have that chlorine in it. And a lot of people tend to get a lot of algae inside their humidifiers. You get that green spunk.
Mm,
But I find I have a hose in my grow room, and it runs probably about 25 feet from where the hose connects up in the rafters and then comes into the grow room. But I'll have to like run it for a few minutes. And if I do that, if I run it into a 5-gallon bucket, which I save for either plants or cleaning or anything else, then I just find that I don't get that algae. It's gone if I have the chlorine in the water for the dehumidifier and humidifier. Sorry.
yeah. The risk there though is when people have hard water with a lot of calcium in there, unfortunately you get like white film that comes out. It covers the equipment. It's covered my plants before. I accidentally one time my RO system messed up, the membrane messed up, so I just had straight tap water, which I thought was RO water, put in my humidifier. All of a sudden, the next morning or a couple days later, I look and there's that white chalky film because it's basically calcium all over my equipment, all over my plants. It was just disgusting.
Yeah, I
So I
never
personally
thought of
avoid.
people having hard water. I don't have hard water, but yeah,
You're lucky, yeah.
that's a strong point for sure.
Yeah, it even clogs up your, believe it or not, your carbon filter. So that carbon filter sock, the pre-filter,
Yep.
if you've got a humidifier, this happened to me. It's happened to a whole bunch of people. Is you put tap water, hard water in your humidifier, that white chalky substance comes up and it clogs your carbon filter, restricts your airflow. Your heat goes through the roof in your tent. Your panic mode. You don't know what the heck's going on. It's not fun if you haven't come across it before. Once you realize once you
That
learn
makes
about
a
it,
lot
then
of
it's like
sense, man.
okay.
That's a
But
good point, man. A lot of
yeah, a lot
people
of
have
people
hard
get caught
water
up.
too, man. A lot of people do
Yeah,
have hard water.
yeah, it sucks. It sucks big time.
Another thing with the cleaning too is it's not necessarily just cleaning your room. You need to make sure that like you're clean too. So like don't go mowing the lawn and then going into the grow room, right? Like try to go into your grow room when you're freshly showered and you've got clean clothes on, and try not to go in there with outdoor shoes or socks that you've been trampling around your house in for the whole day. Like, you need to, like, a lot of people make fun of me that I'm in my grow room barefoot all the time. Most of the time I'm barefoot because I've had my socks on in the basement filming, and I know that I can't go in there with my socks just in case, and I'm trying to just protect myself a little bit more, right? So you definitely have to think about that too when it comes to cleanliness and being clean.
Absolutely. A lot of good points there. Grower Joe, thanks for coming on, man. Can you just let us know what you got upcoming and how people can find you and all that good stuff?
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. We got a lot of familiar faces here in the chat too, so it's just nice to come chat with everyone and spend some time here. You can find me, guys, mostly on Instagram at Basement Autoflowers and YouTube at Basement Autoflowers. If you come follow me, you're gonna have some fun. You're gonna see some growing, some comedy, a lot of goofiness. We've got an old lady character. We've got a fucking stoner character. We're trying to kind of have some fun over here, man. So do me a favor, come on over and subscribe. And then we also got the Basement Autoflowers low stress training bags, built-in low stress training grommets. This is not a commercial, I promise.
Those
No, but
things
it's
are
a lot of
awesome.
fun, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Can I do one thing? Can you tell me if you can hear this? Can't hear
No,
that, can you?
no,
What about that? No, you can't hear that. Okay, perfect.
no, no.
I got little
Test.
like there's buttons on this thing too where you can like press and do everything. Anyways,
Make
go ahead
sound
with your
effects and
outro.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, sound effects and things. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get myself a stream deck. Grower Joe, thanks, man, for coming on, dude. This has been super cool. So
Yeah, man, we're gonna have to have you on the show once we get it all dialed in here. We'll bring on some big players. So we'll swing for some fences here, see if you come on.
cool. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Thanks.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. Peace.